أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم اللعين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد ومحمد. يا أخواني وأخواتي، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear brothers and sisters, may the peace of Allah be upon you, inshallah. So, we are here to talk about a great short book in the name of I've got several editions of the same book, one in French and Arabic, and one also in English, which is in fact in a commemorative volume on Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi. So it is from 1993. So it is from the Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi Society. So a foundation devoted to the teaching and the heritage of this scholar in particular. Concerning Ibn Arabi, unlike the broad area of his expertise, but I don't take him for more than he is. So for a lot of his supporters, he is considered like Sheikh al-Akbar. So the biggest authority in terms of understanding in religion, in terms of expertise. And this is not my case. I disagree with a lot of position with Ibn Arabi, but I found him useful as a kind of introduction to a deserted path. So many people consider Ibn Arabi, and even more with this book, for those who don't know, in French it is called La Production des Cercles d'Ibn Arabi, which is in fact in Arabic Kitab Insha الدوائر. So the book of production of circles. So this is translated and presented by Paul Benton and Maurice Glotton. So this edition is in French and Arabic with a huge introduction, very helpful, from 1996. The first apparition of this book in terms of traduction is in this volume from 1993, commemorative volume on Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi. What is, to reput the context, in the time of Ibn Arabi and before the time of Ibn Arabi, it was a time dominated intellectually by the Ismailis Shia, so the Seveners. And there is many variation of the Ismaili faith. Ismailis were able to have a mizan, a balance with old hikmah, so the old kind of philosophy inherited by the Persian, inherited by from the Greeks, and also from the Levantine. A lot of Greek, like Thales and many more, were in fact from Lebanon, Syria, etc., etc. So even Pythagoras was from Lebanon, if I'm not mistaken. So there was a kind of old knowledge, of old hikmah, al-hikmah. So a term of sagesse en français. Some sage in old age perpetuated a kind of monotheistic interaction with God in terms of intelligence, and this is what is called al-hikmah. And in this regard, in the Islamic tradition, we have a lot of narration. In fact, in the Shia expression of Islam, we have some hadith regarding Aristotle, and also Platon. So Platon, for example, which both are labeled as monotheist and also sage, with Aristotle being more problematic than Platon. Platon, رئيس الحكماء, for example. So the head of the sages. From hadith from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq and reference like that. So in these times, in fact, Ibn Arabi existed at these times, between the switch between Fatimiyin and the birth of the Ayyubid dynasty with Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. For those who don't know, Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, the hero of the Arab and the Ajam, for those who don't know, Salahuddin al-Ayyubi was Kurdish by origin. In both Sunni heritage, we have a hadith from Umar ibn Khattab labeling the Kurds are as descendants of the jinn, and we have similar hadith regarding the Kurds in the Shia tradition. كشف الله عنهم الغطاء in Kitab الكافي. So there is in fact an agreement on the origin of the Kurds. Sadly, the Kurds gained power during the time of Salahuddin al-Ayyubi and after. And this time also, there was the Ibn Taymiyyah, which is also al-Harani, also Kurd. And there is many scholars from these times. This is the win of the Kurds, the time of the Kurds in Islam. One of the problematic traits in the history of this so-called hero of Islam, of Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, for those who don't know, he was governor in Lebanon. So Lebanese know him very well, much more than the average Muslim of the day. We're gonna brag some kind of flag defending Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, when he rose, he was governor, was like a general on Baalbek. And when he gained authority with his states and removed the Fatimid, first thing he do was to throw the big library of the Fatimiyin in the Nile. For those who don't know, he killed a lot of scholars, including Suhrawardi, so the father or the Muassis or Mujaddid, the reviver of Hikmatul Ishraq, so the suggest of eliminative theosophy. He killed him, for those who don't know. And he removed the heritage of the Fatimiyin, which includes also an Islamic heritage, and a heritage more broader than Islam alone. So there is, from this time, a disconnection. And with Ibn Arabi, we didn't invented this kind of representation in Islam, like circles, like diagrams and stuff like that. With Ibn Arabi, we still have a link with this era. So Ibn Arabi is not a proper Shi'i. He's a free thinker. He was educated in Andalusia. His father was a military from an Arab lineage. His mother was a Berber from western Algeria, and he born in Andalusia, modern Spain. He had the opportunity to be taught by a lot of teachers. He gathered a lot of experience and stuff like that. He was a prolific writer. So we had the opportunity to inherit from this luminary of Andalusia. Even we agree or not with him. So this is the book of the description of the encompassing circles. إنشاء الدوائر. Why this book is important? This book is very important because it's like an introduction to the doctrine, the highly complex doctrine of Ibn Arabi. A doctrine has its own terms, sometimes very hard to translate. For those who don't know, I have an uncle from my mother's side specialized in Ibn Arabi, so I can have some. She's a writer with some translation, some also complementary text and study about Ibn Arabi. So I know I can had the opportunity to share with him some views. So this book is important because it's like mukhtasar, it's like a resume of his cosmology. And this is one of the key points of the added value of a scholar like Ibn Arabi. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. So this is إنشاء الدوائر. إنشاء, it's like the production of a thing. شيء بالعربية. وإنشاء, this is the action of producing something. And دوائر, this is circles, which are, of course, used to explain the cosmology and theology and conception of Ibn Arabi, which are all related to a certain understanding of Islam. Praise belongs to God, who had created man in his image, Surah, and favored him with his secret. He established symmetry, mudaha, and correspondence, mubaha, as two premises to obtain knowledge of him, with major H, knowledge of God Almighty. Assimilating man either to the degree of his essence and attributes or to that of his creatures. May the action of grace be upon the Prophet, with a major P, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Synthesis of the first principles, al-mubadi al-awwal. Token of the degree of pre-existence, radiant light without shade. For those who don't know, even in the word of evenement, word of manifestation, physical word, which is the word we are now, Prophet Muhammad is known to didn't have a shade, dhilla. And in numerous hadith shared between Sunnah wa Shia, there is a notion of pre-existence of the light of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's why it was even visible in the forehead of his father, Abdullah. Concealed beneath the veil of incomparability. He is the reality of realities and the first manifested emergence according to the forms both of created realities and of the Creator, as much in respect of formal resemblance as of the essential reality, the name and qualification, and also of the disposition of creatures. May God grant the action of grace to the praised one, and to his family and companions. So for those who don't know, the praised one here is Muhammad. And this is also the meaning of the name Muhammad, the praised one. And may he salute, ennoble, and honor him. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala salute, give the peace, and make him even nobler than he is noble, and honor him to the highest degree, in fact. Introduction. So there is a big, an important, surprisingly, emphasis on the pre-existence and the superiority of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why I like this text of Ibn Arabi. Some of the texts of Ibn Arabi are more problematic for me, but this one is relatively easy to accept. Introduction. When God, may his glory be proclaimed, gave me knowledge of the essential realities of things in themselves, and when he instructed me by unveiling of the reality of their ontological relation nisab and their dependencies, I first wanted to formulate them in a manner accessible to the senses, in order to facilitate the initiation of my companion, Abd al-Badr al-Habashi. So in fact, this book is an attempt to explain to one of his companion, one of the companion of Ibn Arabi, one of his disciples, some truth that he gained in understanding, with the presumption that he was directly inspired by God and stuff like that. So this is something you got to take with caution with Ibn Arabi. You have two conflicting aspects with the methodology of Ibn Arabi. Ibn Arabi is from the Dhahiri madhab. So those who don't know, this is like the Akhbari madhab, Akhbari school in Shia Islam, school which I am an adherent. The Zahiri school took normally Quran wa Sunnah and reject Qiyas, reject Ijtihad. What it is conflicting with the methodology of Ibn Arabi is that he accepts ilham, inspiration, direct inspiration by God. But he states when this is the case of his inspiration. So this is relatively easy to spot. And sometimes you get some author or some saint of some murshid or some ayatollah or some, I don't know the name, they like to call them are not clear from where they got their inspiration. So there is some claim with Ibn Arabi, which can be highly problematic for some people, that God instruct him directly. It is true. Was Ibn Arabi a liar? Was Ibn Arabi a psychologically conflicted person? Stuff like that. Everybody can abstain to judge or have its own idea based on his claims, various claims, which are sometimes very arrogant, very problematic. Because when you take the authority of God as the conveyor of a science, you replace, in a sense, the function of the prophets. And so this is not the correct or the usual definition of a scholar of Islam. And many times, Ibn Arabi chose to cross this boundary. So this book is a facilitation, tafsil, an explanation for one of his companion and initiate, Abdullah Badr al-Habashi. So the one which I think the Tafsir ibn Arabi was preserved, and we got Tafsir ibn Arabi too. So from Ethiopian origin, so from Nauba. And this is important. Abdullah Badr al-Habashi was from the descendant of Kush, so from the descendant of Nuh. He was black, but from the descendants of Nuh, not to be mistaken with every black you cross, which are most of the time highly problematic in terms of belief, in terms of adherence to the concept of Tawheed and many other stuff. So people of Ethiopia, people of Eritrea, stuff like that, are people firm in their obedience, their belief, and their fear of Allah subhanahu. Most of them, even when they are not Muslim, they are like that. We cannot say the same for other black people on earth. And we got a hadith لا تزوجوا من السودان أحدا ولا بد إن من نوبة. So we got special treatment from the people of Nauba. Even in terms of marriage, they are the exception of the black people, based on the fact that they will remember the covenant with Imam al-Mahdi in the time of his rise to establish justice. وعصابة منهم, and a group from them will come and support. Alhamdulillah. Next, it will also serve as clarification to the individual whose grasp is insufficiently perceptive. So it's also a facility for people that can grasp because it's too complex. So this version is simplified. and whose cogitation falls short of the realm. So people with limited intellect are not used with this kind of resentment. He will then discern the ontological rank. Ontology, this is the science of being. This is a science devoted to the act of being. In terms of existence. He will then discern the ontological rank which man occupies and recognize the signal nobility he possesses, by token of which the angels were obliged to submit to him by prostrating themselves before him. So, a well-known Quranic verse. Now, if the noble and very pure angel prostrated himself before man, there is all the more reason for it to be so for subordinate beings of the world here below. And yes, there is also a Quranic verse regarding the submission of the species on earth to the man with M, major M. Have you not paid good heed to the following divine and truthful verse? So, Quran. He has made subject to you all that is in the heavens and on earth, and all comes from him. So he subjected the world to the domination of this most eminent human being. Just as no celestial world is elevated save by you, so the creator of the terrestrial world exists only to be in submission to you, and to supplicate assiduously. No in asking pardon for you. No in praying for you. For an angel of peace to intercede for you with God the real. If the veridic Prince Muhammad prays for you, the angels have all the more reason to. And if he considers you his lieutenant has all the more reason to do the same. His lieutenant. And his lieutenant is singular, his. So this is a reference to maybe Ali bin Abi Talib, Amir al-Mu'minin, his lieutenant. I have to find the in the Arabic text what word. Maybe it's a word. Amir. I will check later. All fruit and bounty act likewise, humbly appealing to you to accomplish for your sake the goodnesses that God has laid therein. For every reality and subtlety in existence emanates toward you, a subtle ray. So there is a connection. As also proceed from you towards them subtle rays. Now, the number of rays is a function of the number of realities and subtleties. For if man did not possess the most excellent constitution, أحسن تقويم, Quran, if he had not been created in the image of the pre-existent Surat al-Qadim, and he did not come from the empire of truth by reason of the tranquility and love he brings to him, no creature would have had a true existence in relation to him. And the supreme pleroma would not have submitted to him. thus man would not have occupied the most resplendent station. The possession, then, in all their forms, would not have presented themselves to him, and the body of the celestial spheres, Ajram al-Aflak, would not have turned in his soul. So here we got some glimpse of the conception of Ibn Arabi, Ajram al-Aflak, the bodies of the celestial spheres. So thank God now, O you human being, that the all generous and compassionate has favored you with the perfection of his investiture, Nisba, and that he has made known to you the significance, ma'na, and the realities of this origin, Nasba. Then scrutinize your existence and the place of your rank in relation to your devoted, and discriminate between what you are and your condition as servant. Most certainly, if you accomplish this, you will attain the enthronement of the compassionate, Istawa Rahmani, and you will participate to the lordly notification in Bahrabani. I have presented all of that in this treatise, which I have entitled The Description of the Circles, comprising the correspondence of man to creator and to creatures by sensible and intelligible forms, and by creatural attributes, as well as by the revelation of truth within him by subtle pathway. So this is, in fact, the whole title of this very important book, and this is exactly what is contained. And this is a short book, but very important. I have drawn diagrams. So the diagrams that Ibn Arabi drew are not originally only from the Sufi. In fact, they have a pre-existence in the Shia expression of Islam. In fact, Shiites are well known to draw, have schematics, diagram, and stuff like that to explain their theology. This is one of the influence of, but it was removed at the stage and with the fall of the Fatimid state. I have drawn diagrams, established comparison, explained what is proper to man as a human being and as a religious and ethical being, ihsan, in order to facilitate understanding and lead to knowledge. For those who don't know, there are some scholars which were well-known user of diagrams, like Abu Yaqub al-Sijistani, for example. So an Ismaili also. But they had really hard time in the hand of Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, and also before in the hands of the Mongols and also the Persians. There was some Persian king that killed the professor of Abu Yaqub al-Sijistani and also him. We ask him who formed the beings for help and assistance by His grace and generosity. So this is the introduction of from the words, from the pen of Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi of Kitab Insha الدوائر. Very interesting book. So this is the first part, and inshallah I will come back with the rest, and with also some return to the Arabic edition, which is contained in this translation, so bilingual content. Thank you very much. التمس الدعاء. الله معكم إلى اللقاء. مع السلامة.